Solomon Dersso is the founder and director of Armani Africa, a policy research organisation that's based in Addis Ababa, and joins me now from New York. Good to have you with us on Al Jazeera, sir. The international community was sort of holding its breath for another ceasefire, and that seems to be happening, be it with some skirmishes here and there that we're hearing about. A relief for now, but is there any momentum, in your opinion, for the international community to continue now putting even more pressure on the warring sides to talk to each other?
I think there isn't enough momentum. There is a need for scaling up the pressure on and the diplomatic effort, not only in terms of engaging and also trying to get the two sides to commit to a ceasefire, but also importantly, I think it's given the nature of the fighting, where it is happening, civilians are caught in the crossfire. The two sides need to be pressed by the international community to spare civilians from attacking civilian areas and civilians as well. So I think there is a need for keeping the pressure on the two sides, but also for reaching out to the wider stakeholders in Sudan, other political and social forces, to harness their pressure and also their leverage.
OK, so while the conflict continues inside the country, there are two groups, you might say, of stakeholders. There's the wider international community and the neighbours. Let's just talk about the wider international community, because there is the influence that we've been hearing about from IGAD and from the African Union. They need to do more than just issue statements, don't they? But what can they do practically?
So, statements is one thing, but I think it's also important to actually enlist the leverage of those neighboring as well as Gulf countries and European and the US. The leverage of these countries needs to be enlisted towards keeping sustained pressure, including by keeping eyes on Sudan, on what is unfolding, by talking to these people directly, and by creating all the space that is possible for humanitarian access, because that is also another important aspect of the diplomatic effort that Sudan desperately needs. And also by allowing and facilitating, of course, in the neighboring countries, for Sudanese to have easy access as they flee this war and fighting. But the most important thing is continuing the phone calls on these people, the convening, facilitating and coordination as well, extremely important, because you don't want to have a traffic jam of diplomacy that ends up being manipulated by the actors. You need to have...
So, no, didn't want to interrupt too much there, but I do need to come in, because obviously you say you need the state, you need the actors involved in trying to get the two sides to talk to each other. In terms of the immediate neighbours, of which some of them are within IGAD, all of them are within the African Union, they have for years now, since the fall of Omar al-Bashir, been sitting on the sidelines, watching what's going on in Sudan, seeing one military coup, then civil society take up a potential and hope for a civilian government. Do you not think that they need to do more? They need to voice their concern, because at the moment they are paying the price, are they not, for the refugees and some internally displaced who are having to move to cross their borders? Chad, Egypt, Ethiopia, and now even South Sudan. South Sudan's got its own problems.
No, absolutely. Actually, one of the things that makes this conflict very dangerous is exactly the environment in which it is happening. The Sahel, where Chad is neighboring, as you know, is full of troubles. The Horn of Africa is deeply fragile. And you also have the whole threat of the fighting, if it actually becomes protracted. Not only that it would descend into other forms of conflict, drawing in various communities against each other, but also it has a very serious potential of becoming regionalized, and with risk of this country becoming what Libya had experienced, which is basically fragmented and unable to pull itself together. And that is a very dangerous proposal that we have at the moment. Two countries, Libya and Sudan, in that kind of situation. And
obviously,
indeed, there is every reason for IGAD and the African Union to be worried and to do everything possible to avoid this scenario.
Indeed. Difficult time at the moment. One we'll keep a very close eye on. Solomon Dersso, thanks for joining us from New York. So thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.